This a little
Well,
bit.
I mean, when you see the victim of this case, when you see someone at the mall, you shouldn't be going over and starting a fight.
I had a flashback. That day because they took my daughter, so I saw my daughter, so I had a flashback. So that's when I went after her.
Well, I don't know what that means. So you're entitled to do that because you had a flashback?
I had a flashback because my daughter got taken away 2 months, and then I was really sad
understand.
about
And
it.
my point is, you have to be able to control yourself
Yeah,
and not approach people and
approach
start
people
fighting
in front of everybody.
public.
Yeah, like I can't do it in front of everybody because
No, you can't do it at all. There's a protective order. You're not supposed to be contacting them at all.
Yeah.
We are about to watch a Connecticut parole hearing of a woman who really just has the longest rap sheet, a dirty jacket, but given chance after chance, suspended sentence after suspended sentence. And you will see a repulsive hearing and really just one that, again, disgusts me and I think will disgust you. But the idea that the DAs and judges continue to let her off the hook so that she can harm and harm again is disturbing. Let's jump into this Connecticut parole hearing.
Nicole Bedoya.
Can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Nicole Bedoya, 415643.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Nicole Bedoya, inmate number 415643. She is serving a sentence of 10 years suspended after 30 months with 5 years probation for violation of protective order, risk of injury, assault, third, and 3 counts violation of probation, larceny, third, and violation of protective order, state of the life benefits. As the today record reflect parole eligibility date, May 4th, 2025. There is victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan that has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed assessments. Is currently in the short-term sex offender program. Utilizing the brain injury needs assessment, the offender's overall score for sitting falls within the moderate range. Ms. Bedoya, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe granted parole. You may begin.
Okay, why should I be granted? Because when I want to read a letter that I wrote, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Guys,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. July 18 is my parole hearing. Why should I be granted? When I was sitting in jail, I realized that my action got me here, gave me insight, and I learned my lesson when I want better for my mental health as well as my life. Working with doctors and social workers along with taking my meds and therapy, I am rehabilitated and am using my better judgmentally in situation as well as learning to walk away from unhealthy ones. I can maintain this same routine in the halfway house as also preparing to do so on my own. All I need is a chance to prove my words to you guys and myself. I will follow all the rules and rejectedly while I'm in the halfway house. I hope you can understand my point of view. My goals is to see my counselor once a day per week, focus on my priority medication, take daily, go to every day to my groups, and go see my supportive, my family, my DDS worker, my Du Bois Center, and my therapist, and all of that groups. That's all my goal that I wrote this as my heart. And I feel like I feel like I want to receive my parole and accept parole because I think out there it's better off to be in the community. I changed my life. This jail that I think I was in jail and I was thinking in here when I was in jail and I realized my action that I did was wrong with the charges that I got into it. It's because they got my daughter taken away when she was 2 years old and I couldn't take care of her. That's why I had an argument with the facility with the foster care lady. So I had a flashback, but I realized the charges that I did was really wrong. So I should be on parole because my action, what I did was wrong. And I know my parole would be better off staying out of trouble and do what I have to do. And staying focused on myself. Not if they granted me for parole, I know when I get to the halfway house, I had goals when I get to if I go to the halfway house, right? I feel like I'm gonna stay with the staff rules, like if I'm in DLC, but I'm in DLC in the halfway house, but DLC is part of the halfway house, right? So if they grant to me for parole, right? I could understand that the halfway house with the staff, if they had more rules, so I could whatchamacallit, like behave myself. Like I behave here, but I know I had a lot of issues, but I turned myself around to behave and stay chill. You know what I mean?
Okay, are you ready for our questions, Ms. Bedoya? Thank you for your statement.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna ask you questions, and then the Office of Victim Services is gonna come on. They have some input for us, and then we'll
Okay.
discuss your case, and we'll give you our decision here today.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
begin with my colleague, Ms. Smith Palmieri.
Thank you. So Ms. Bedoya, I listened to everything that you said, and I think we all want you to be successful in the community, whether it's at a halfway house or you release. I liked hearing that you have a mind to work with all the supportive people in your life. I'm familiar with a couple of the programs you mentioned. And certainly parole or probation is going to help you kind of stay on the right track.
Right.
For today, I must tell you that we would need for you to have finished the sex offender treatment program. You're only partial the way through that. I think that's very important for you to complete so you recognize what you did, why it was so wrong, how it's a sexual offense, and ways to help yourself to not commit that in the future, to not be impulsive and do harmful acts like you did, especially to the children.
Right.
You also, I'm glad to hear that you said you're trying to figure out how to get along better at the facility.
Yep.
Because you do have a number of disciplinary reports.
Yeah.
So how have you figured out how to get along better?
Well, when I have bunkies and I had a ticket in the cell, I got a ticket like in the cell, I just communicate with my bunkies. If I said I have a situation going on in the cell, I talk as a grown woman and talk to her about what I'm having a situation with you. If my bunkie have a situation, we talk to each other, not have an argument or a fight. We talk as a grown woman. We're supposed to be grown in here. We're women. We're supposed to be grown. So I will talk and answer what I have a problem with her, or she have a problem with me, or I have a problem with her, or she have a situation going on in cell. We fix the problem and everything work out smoothly. You know, we don't have to go to the step of leveling to SAG or take ourselves to get our ticket, our stuff taken away from us.
Okay, I think what I'm hearing from you is that you're learning better communication skills.
Yes.
Right?
That's
and
what
those
I
are
like.
important skills for you to take into the community.
Yep.
And so that's important because we are very concerned about these disciplinary reports.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
And I've been having good bunkies and I've been doing really well with them and I never argue with them. I just keep it to myself now when I'm in a tear and everything.
Okay.
I don't argue with nobody.
All right. So it's better communication, I think, is helpful for you down the road. The sex offender treatment program, how far along are you? How much have you done?
So the coping skills sex offender, what is that? The sex.
Okay, the coping skills program is what you call it.
I already finished that coping skills already, and I did a good job. I know what they talk about. It's about to not talk about, like, it's a coping skills. It's like a coping skills, the way you said it, but it's privacy coping skills. So I can't talk about that.
All right. So I'm good. So in our information, it's the sex offender treatment.
Yes.
Treatment. Okay. And you do need to learn coping skills. You need to identify triggers.
Yeah.
And ways to live in the community and not behave like that.
Like that. Yep.
All right. Also, you need to still take anger management.
Yep. And I already wrote anger management. So I wrote her already. I'm just waiting for the request back when I be on the list again. She said I'm on the list, but she gonna see if I did parole hearing, then she gonna put me on top of the list. Because it's a waiting list. It's a waiting game.
Yes,
so
we have you on the waiting list.
Yeah.
So you still have to do that. And you have a detainer to North Carolina. So whenever you're done here, North Carolina, you have to go They're gonna come and pick you up and you have to
Okay.
manage the charges there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Ms. Bedoya, I do not have any other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Smith-O'Berry. Ms. Bedoya, it appears that you have some difficulty with impulse control. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much. Just a little
Well,
bit.
I mean, when you see the victim of this case, when you see someone at the mall, you shouldn't be going over and starting a fight.
I had a flashback. That day because they took my daughter, so I saw my daughter, so I had a flashback. So that's when I went after her.
Well, I don't know
So-
what that means. So you're entitled to do that because you had a flashback?
I had a flashback because my daughter got taken away 2 months, and then
Yeah.
I was really
I
sad
understand.
about
And my
it.
point is you have to be able to control yourself
Yeah,
and
that is true.
not approach people and
Approach
start fighting
people in
with
front
them.
of everybody. Yeah, like I can't do it in front of everybody because that's
No, you
that's
can't do it at
there.
all. There's a
At all, yeah.
protective order. You're not supposed to be contacting them at all.
Yeah,
And
That is
same
true.
thing with the out-of-state conviction. Yeah, you're harassing your ex's family. You have to be able to control yourself. Why? That's over. You have to let it go and leave them alone.
yeah, that is true. And I did talk to my family about it, that I'm gonna stop doing all this stuff and not contact them no more, because you will get in trouble again and do your years again, like 10 years. I got 10 over my head, so I gotta be careful what I'm doing. So I'm never gonna contact them no more, and I'm not gonna have no phone involved in my life.
No what?
Like that, a phone.
A phone. I
Like,
mean,
I'm gonna
how do you
have
live
to-
without a phone in 2025?
Well, I told my
That's
dad
not
I
the
want a
answer.
phone.
Not having a phone is your answer?
Yeah, because the phone is not good for me, because I want to use something like a state phone, not no regular phone,
Okay.
like a Donald Trump phone or Obama.
I think you still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're taking responsibility today and not blaming everybody else like you were,
yeah,
but there's still work to be done. It's not that these victims, it's not their fault.
yeah. It's my fault.
Right.
I'm supposed
And
not to do that
if
again.
anything, you should be grateful that someone is taking care of your child, right?
Yeah, that is true, because she's
Yeah.
really she's really healthy,
Yeah.
So I'm happy. Yeah,
Yeah. And you can't be fighting with people.
no, I'm not.
Nobody. You can't. You'll
Anymore.
end up right back here.
Back in jail.
You
Yeah,
have 5 years of probation to file your sentence. You should establish a strong relationship with your probation officer, because it's their job to help you and
Of
support
course.
you, send
they
you
support me.
services.
Take my
Yeah.
give me my meds and give me all the
Right.
support that I need. Yeah, like DBS
Mr.
work, of
Rodriguez?
course. And
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, Ms. Bedoya, I think you still need to do some work on yourself. I don't really have any questions for you.
okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll ask the Office of Victim Services to provide input at this time. We'll ask you to please not interrupt them at all. Okay. Just listen. Ms. Vasquez, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. Had the opportunity to speak last minute with 2 victims this morning, and they have provided a brief statement for me to read on their behalf. The first one reads like this. Good morning, board members. I would like to start my statement by saying thank you for allowing me to say something today. We'll start by saying that I wish her nothing but the best. However, it would be a disservice not to say that I'm not in a position for Nicole Bedoya to be released into the community. I was helping her when she needed someone, when she needed support, and all of a sudden she decides to assault me, the one person that was helping her. Because of this, I am not okay with Ms. Bedoya to be released into the community. She is a danger to society. I am in fear of what she would do to me if released. Do not want her to contact me. And the second statement reads, good morning, board members. I am not in favor of Nicole to be released into the community. If she was to be released, I would like for her to abide by the protective order that is in place, for her to stay away from us, from our daughter, to not approach us if she sees us in the community, to not contact us via social media. To this day, she has not paid or replaced the phone that she broke on the day that she assaulted me. Thank you, board members. This is all that I have for this case.
Thank you. Okay, so give us a few minutes to discuss your case, Ms. Bedoya, and we'll get back to you shortly with our decision. Ms. Smith,
Thank you. So today, Ms. Bedoya is not suitable for parole. She still has a lot of programs to complete. We don't have confirmation that she completed the sex offender treatment. She still has anger management. She still has work to do just in terms of managing her mental health needs. She has a detainer to North Carolina when she finishes this sentence. And the disciplinary reports are just, an issue also in terms of her suitability. I do not understand.
No, agreed. Yeah.
I'm also in agreement.
All right. So nature and circumstance, poor institutional adjustment, and you can pick on probation or inadequate evidence change. Which one?
Inadequate evidence.
Okay. Thank you. All right. In the matter of Nicole Bedoya, inmate number 415643, I'll move to deny parole for the following reasons: the nature and circumstance of your offenses, your poor institutional adjustment, the tickets, disciplinary reports, and inadequate evidence of offender change. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm sorry, Ms. Bedoya, we could not grant you parole today, but we wish you the best.
I actually brought Sir Richard out of retirement to try to find out what is in her jacket, how dirty her jacket is, because I couldn't find anything. And Sir Richard, he couldn't find anything as well. And it's his understanding that it probably happened when she was a juvenile, which, by the way, was not so long ago. She's only 27 years old, if you can even imagine that. What a scary human being. I think cockroach works quite well when just trying to describe, if there was an insect that would be one that you would need to describe. Oh my gosh, just the whole thing. And of course she has to wear the necklace, trying to think that she's tricking us, that she's tricking the parole board. It was actually interesting when she first came to the hearing. She came in, she was out of order. She came before her turn. And when she came in, she was not wearing the necklace out. She actually came back in a second time and then had it out. So I don't know if it's something that she only put on for the parole hearing, or if she just wanted to make sure the parole board saw it. See, I'm a religious woman. I fear God. Parole me. But we see it time and time again. It's a dead giveaway. I'm just saying it's not. And I want to point out, I've seen some of you in the comment section say that is disgusting to call it a Ch0m0 necklace. And I want you to know that the rule only applies when you are in prison. I do not believe, none of us believe that outside of prison. It is those who commit the most horrible crimes that hijack a religion to try to manipulate us, that want to believe that, oh, since they are a man or woman of God, they must be good. It's them trying to manipulate us, and we don't fall for it here. And it's not us saying this because, I don't know, we just feel like it. It's because statistically speaking, it's at a higher level of 9 out of 10 that they are a Ch0m0 if they are wearing the crucifix. I would say it's probably 9.5 out of 10. So that's why we call it that. It has nothing to do with anything outside of a prison parole hearing, maybe sentencing hearing scenario. I just want to make that very clear. But wow, is it like, can you imagine being her cell? And again, when it comes to people like this, I think the main takeaway is just there are people in this world that do not think like us, that are, she couldn't even wrap her mind around. She couldn't understand the most basic. Well, what I did wrong was I should have done it in private. I shouldn't have. I was triggered. I'm the victim. I was triggered. I had to go and approach them in the mall. And she has like restraining orders all over the place, even North Carolina restraining order. And it's I hope they give her some real time. Someone this age, this young, with so many victims, with so many different type of crimes. Can you imagine the terror? She'll never learn. Her mind is not wired like ours. She will never be a functioning citizen contributing to the world, paying taxes. This is a broken person. And I don't know what the answers are, but she will create victims wherever she goes. She does not have insight. I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm speculating on a situation like this, but there is something wrong there. It's clear to anybody. I don't need to be a PhD to know. But anyways, we'll jump into another hearing. Someone also with violation of probation and 3-year special parole. Oh, if you guys are wondering, yeah, the princess we had before, she is going to get out no matter what, 7/23/2026, and then hopefully North Carolina will put her up for a little bit. All right, let's go.
Amarilys N, 413803.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Amarilys Nieves, inmate number 413803. She's serving a sentence of 3 years for violation of probation with robbery second aided by another as the underlying offense. As of today, records reflect parole eligibility date of April 1st, 2025. There is no victim input in the case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It's been reviewed and shows that the offender has completed Tier 2 anger management and has a job in commissary. Utilizing the women's risk needs assessment board of the offender's overall score for recidiving falls within the moderate range. Ms. Nieves, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should grant parole. You may begin.
I have video, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'd like to start by saying that my father once told me that with freedom comes responsibility, and with responsibility comes accountability. And I can honestly say during this incarceration, I've taken accountability for my actions. And by doing so, it has caused me to deeply regret the poor choices I made in the past. But a big part of the reason I believe I was making those poor choices in the past is because since a child, I've been dealing with mental health issues. By recognizing that, I realized I had to face those issues head on by finding the right medication and learning new coping skills. After being able to do that, I was able to complete everything on my offender accountability plan, attend self-help groups, complete a parenting course, hold down a job for a year, and remain ticket-free for over 17 months. And my greatest motivation during this incarceration has been the fact that I recently gave birth to a beautiful baby girl named on January 7th, 2024. With her as my motivation, the support of my loving parents, my loving grandparents, and my mentor, Ivana Salisbury, I've been able to fight to become the best version of myself each and every day. And if I were voted to parole, the change would not stop here. I would work hard to obtain employment. I would continue furthering my education so I can obtain a degree in human services so I can help others just like myself. I would continue medicine management and therapy at CRT and Main Street in Hartford so that I can successfully complete parole, prove to be a good citizen of this country, and raise my daughter to become a person of integrity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your statement, Ms. Nieves. We're going to ask you some questions. When we're done with our questions, we'll deliberate, discuss your case amongst ourselves, and give you our decision, okay? We'll
Okay.
begin with my colleague, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Nieves, for that. You read that right off. You didn't write that up, did you?
I memorized it.
Oh, okay. I did a nice job memorizing it. It was good. Thank you so much for all that information you just gave. And the fact that you seem like you've been thinking about doing some planning around what you need to do when you get out, which is really very
Yes.
important for us. But let me
Yes.
tell you the concern. Let me tell you the concern that I had. A couple of concerns that I had in this particular situation. One, you're here for the violation of probation, for basically not complying with the things that you needed to do, right? Referrals to programs. And I'm trying to understand, and it's not the first time. You've had 4 other situations where you were released and didn't comply or didn't do what you needed to do. And that kind of concerns me. What's different now, today?
Well,
About that.
I had an eye-awakening experience when I got pregnant and I recently gave birth to my daughter. And since having her, like, I've realized how important it is that I need to be a part of her life. And it's caused me to change my behavior, like, immensely. I've done everything that I need to do because of that. And I've been able to, when I was once, like, always in the mental health, always getting in trouble. And the moment that I gave birth, all that changed for me. And I decided that I needed to change my behaviors and work on my mental health. And I wasn't always on the right medication, but I am now. And it's caused me to just fight to become a better version of myself for my daughter's future and for my future.
Yeah, that's very positive, and it is obviously very important, very critical that you feel that you can get as healthy as you possibly can.
Yes.
Because it's a difficult role being a parent.
Yes.
Have you done any programming around parenting?
Yes, I completed a parenting course called How to Be a Responsible Mother. And I was in the postpartum group where I learned several things about parenting and tips and like basic things like CPR and things like that.
That's good. That's really good. As a perspective from my mother, it'd be very difficult for me. I mean, when we're talking about fathers, it'd be a different thing. I'm sure my colleagues will have some questions related to that particular part of your growth. You've taken anger management. Tell me a little bit about that and what you learned from that, because there were some situations around your past that were some violent situations.
Yes. So when I was in anger management, I learned that there are other ways to express my anger. And not only that I learned other ways, but I learned how to journal through it. So actually during the time that I was in anger management, there were a few times where I got angry and then I went back to my room and did the journal prompts given to me by the teacher. And I was able to work through those situations in my head and take it one step at a time. So now that's what I do. I just journal it out.
That's good. That's good. And it gives you an opportunity to reflect, I guess, on your behavior and what you've done and how you handled it.
Exactly. And give me a chance to see like the distorted thinking that I have in that moment so that I can take a step back from it and just recognize where I'm at. And it gives me a second to be able to clear my head.
Yeah, that's good. That's positive. I'm glad to hear that. And I hope that you continue doing that even upon your release. Because if it's really helping you, it's something you should probably continue to do.
Yes.
You've got a pretty high drug score, a 4, which is pretty high. 5 is the highest you can get. You have taken tier 2. Now, I know in the past you've also taken tier 4.
No, I've never taken tier 4.
Tier 2, I'm sorry, tier 2 in the past.
Yes.
You're taking it again now. What's different about taking it now than having taken it before?
Now I'm actually ready to make changes in my life when it comes to that. I recognized during tier 2 that I didn't have to self-medicate to feel better. You know, that if I just took my medication, that was like a big part of the issue for me. If I just took my medication and I would be able to focus clearly and I wouldn't feel the need to self-medicate.
Okay. What are going to be some of your goals when you come out? What are you looking to do?
I'm looking to first, number 1, get a job. Number 2, work on my therapy and my medicine management. Number 3, I want to save as much money as possible so that I can buy a house for me and my daughter. I want to get a license. I want to continue going back to school after I get settled and so I can obtain a degree in human services so I can help others like myself.
Yeah, you shared that in your opening statement that you shared. That's a lot that you want to get done.
Yeah, I know I can do it.
And being a parent is going to take a lot of time as well.
I know.
And it's going to be a single parent, right? You don't have anybody right now. Is there anybody you have a relationship with?
I mean, I would be a single mother, but my parents are taking care of her, and they said that they would help me after I get custody of her. Like if I have to work, they'll babysit her. You know, they're gonna be just as involved as they are now, but even more so because they realize that I'm gonna be doing it alone.
Yeah, that's very positive. That's very positive. Well, it sounds to me like like you've really, at least you're taking this opportunity, this particular incarceration, to kind of think about really those things that you really need to get done to kind of make yourself better, a little bit be more successful when you do get on the outside.
Yes.
And I think that's very positive. And I want to be able to acknowledge that for you, because I'm hearing those positive things from you right now. You also had previously taken anger management.
Yes.
And so how is it different this time?
Before, I didn't take it serious. I wasn't ready before. it's as simple as that. I really wasn't ready. It's as soon as I had my daughter, that's when I opened my eyes to the change that I needed to have, that I needed to make changes in my life, serious changes, because or else I was going to miss a part of her life. So when this time it was serious for me. Like it was more life or death because I have to be there for my daughter. She deserves that.
Okay. All right, listen, I don't have any additional questions at this moment. I'm gonna let my colleagues go ahead and ask you some questions, and if anything else comes up, I'll come back to ask you. But I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Smith-Palmieri?
Thank you. So Ms. Nieves, I heard you talk about all the things that have changed this time, but I was looking back at one or two of your other hearings, and you at the last hearing, you said you were addressing all your mental health needs. You had a plan to be in the community, and you even used the word integrity. You had integrity. You told the panel you knew you wanted to do the right things. So why should we think it's different this time? And I heard you say a few times to my colleague, it's because you're a mother now. But putting that aside, what else is different?
Putting that aside, I'm going on 30 years old. I've been in and out of the system for 10 years, and I'm tired this time. I've really sat down and I've thought about everything that I've done wrong in my life, and I recognize that I'm just living insanity, making the wrong choices over and over. And because of that, I'm robbing myself of a good life. And I realize that I made a lot of mistakes, but I know that I've worked through enough, and I can continue to work through to make a better life for myself. I know that what's different is that I'm tired. I'm tired of living this life.
I have to agree with everything that you've said. You're 29 years old. You have a fairly decent record for somebody your age. There's a lot going on. You're on special parole too?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So when you walked away from the halfway house, what were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
Well, I had got a lawsuit, and the staff and the girls were giving me attitude. So I said, you know what? I don't need this. I have a lawsuit, and I foolishly ran away, and I stayed in a hotel until the money was about gone, and then I turned myself in, and I realized that I also wasn't getting the proper care that I needed from my daughter, and I know that I had to eventually face the consequences. So I turned myself in.
So when I read all of what was going on there, I did read about your lawsuit as part of the reason why you felt that you could just walk up, just leave. I in my mind, I was thinking it's very impulsive.
Yeah.
Very,
Yes.
very impulsive. You use the word chaos, also impulsive. How are you going to manage those feelings?
Well, I'd like to point out that at that time, I wasn't on medication at all, because I was pregnant and the doctors didn't want to give me medication. So I really have a lot of mental health issues. And with the hormones from being pregnant, I was just out of control at that time. Sorry to say it that way, but that's just how I was. And but I've been on the right medication now for almost 17 months, and my behavior has greatly improved.
I heard you mention in your opening statement, did you say you have a mentor?
Yes, I have a mentor. She's of the nonprofit agency In Our Blessed Mother's Arms out of New Haven. And I was actually going to have an abortion, and she convinced me to have my daughter despite the circumstances that I was in. And she's been by my side this whole incarceration. She's Catholic. She's been giving me instructions on how to live out my faith and how to work through certain things, and just to put it in God's hands. And she's given me advice about how to turn my negative thinking into positive thinking. And she's just been there, and she's gone and visited my daughter and brought her clothes, and she supported me throughout this whole thing.
Does she come and visit you?
She was supposed to come once, but she ended up having back surgery. But we talk on the phone at least once a day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your plan to meet with her in the community?
Well, she wants me to come work at her nonprofit agency with her for get a couple hours in there, get experience. Because what she does is she reaches out to single mothers and help them realize that they can do it on their own and that they don't have to have abortions.
And I read that you think you can get your old job back in security?
Yes. So I had my mom call the convention center and talk to Clarence Murray. That's one of the guys that works there. That was my boss. And she talked to him and he said that he would be willing to give me my job back. But that was a while ago, so I'm not sure, but I think so because I did a good job there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Ms. Nieves, I just want to point out a few things. You were on special parole for the robbery 2. At the time of this offense, your violation of probation. The special parole is still running until December 1st of 2026. Okay.
Yes.
So those conditions still apply. The previous panel that saw you denied you discretionary parole because when you committed the prior offense, you were on TS. So what that shows me is that you, and now a violation of probation, that you're not able to take advantage of community supervision and the support that is offered to you. So I hope this time around, if you're afforded another opportunity, that will be different. It's their job, probation, parole, to help you, to support you. There's a misconception that they just want to bring you back to prison. We have enough business. If you look around in there, there's enough people there. We don't want to bring you back. We want you to be successful. So you have to learn to utilize them as a support and ask them for help instead of running away. Do you understand that?
Yes, I
Okay.
understand. I understand that now. And I just want to say that I've run away a lot in the past, but now I don't want to run away at all because I just want to be in the community, able to see my daughter on a frequent basis.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be a part of her life, a present part of her life.
Yeah.
I want to be there for her. And so I really know I'm not going to run away again.
And if you truly want to be there for her, I know you say that you didn't know the marijuana was laced with fentanyl. When you buy drugs illegally on the street, that's a chance you take every time, no matter what you're buying.
Yes, I know.
You're lucky to be alive because that stuff is killing people left and right.
Yes, I know. I won't be smoking anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good idea because, you know, if
I
you
don't
want
mess with my
parents to
medication.
you need a clear head, right, to be a good mother, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I see the changes, and you know, my colleague mentioned programs you've taken before. You didn't complete the Tier 2 program in the past. You were removed after a month. So this time you had the opportunity to go back in and complete it. Hopefully you learned some new tools that you could use to help you in your sobriety to stay clean. My colleague also asked you about whether you were in a relationship. I did read about your partner, and I'm a little concerned about that too, because partner's on probation for robbery. You need to be able to walk away from any negative influences. Should you realize that your people are not doing the right thing, you have to be able to walk away at any time. Sometimes even family, you have to leave behind because they're going to bring you down. You know?
Yes, I recognize that.
Yeah. So be careful. And the plan to vape so that you don't have to use drugs, I'm not so sure that's a great plan either, you know?
Well, I was vaping and replace the cigarettes.
I guess, but do you really want to be vaping around your baby? No.
No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully you can find a healthy lifestyle and the supports that you need to put all negative stuff behind.
Yes.
That's the mental health medication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that stuff is just toxins. Yeah. All right. So I think we're done here. You did get an excellent evaluation for your for the program that you participated in, and it sounds like you're on the right path. $12,000 doesn't last forever. I know it seems like a big windfall, right, when you get it, but
Especially when you're young.
Anything worth having, you have to work for. We've all worked hard over the years, and you'll learn that. You know, when you find something that you love to do, a job that you love to do, you'll want to go to work and make money the right way. Give us a few minutes to discuss your case. We'll come back to you shortly with our decision. Okay, you can listen to our discussion. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kind of difficult case because she sounds really good today,
Yeah.
but her history kind of reflects the person who kind of has tried to do something and then fallen back, and it presented a real challenge. She was on special parole when this happened, and when she was violated. Prior history, yes, violence in her prior history. Having said that, I mean, she's got a mentor that she's seeing, she talked about, which I think is a very positive thing for her, and will probably be very helpful for her. She's taken her programming, has gotten good evaluation in her programming. She hasn't had any tickets the last 17 months or so. And she seems to be, at least while she's on her medication, and kind of functioning in a way that she's moving in a really positive way. She EOS is in August of next year. She doesn't have anything to follow that.
She has
Special parole to 27.
Yeah. No, 26 December.
I'm sorry, 26.
Yeah.
So almost same year.
Right.
I'd like to see her have some supervision. I would be willing to support her discretionary parole today.
Okay, thank you.
Have some additional supervision on the outside.
Yeah. Ms. Smith, sorry?
I agree.
Yeah. Today's the 18th. All right. Let's see if we're on the same page with conditions. I have no contact with underlying victims BP or Ch0m.
Correct.
Mental health treatment with medication compliance. No co-defendants, Jeffrey Bowman or Javier Trujillo. And a halfway house. Anything else?
I have something else.
Okay. Okay, in the matter of Amarilys Nieves, MA number 413803, I'll move to grant parole. It's on or after. It's effective today, July 18th, 2025, with the following conditions. No contact with your victims, BP or Ch0m. No contact with co-defendants Jeffrey Bowman or Javier Trujillo. Mental health treatment with medication compliance and halfway house placement. Anything further? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You'll get this in writing. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Keep working on yourself. Good luck to
It's a
you.
real break you're getting.
Thank you.
I emailed Sir Richard because I look in her record, and as of November 2025, it says that she is still sitting in York prison. So I got to figure this out now. Unless Sir Richard gets back to me and says, "Hey, she was revoked or she was rescinded," I'll try to go through the hearings, and you probably won't be seeing this. Actually, if I can find it, because I would repackage the hearing and make sure that I have the full story for you. If you are seeing this, then it means that we cannot find any information, and maybe it's just a mistake in their system. But yeah, so I don't know. Again, I don't know why it shows that she's still in York. And when I look up her criminal record, she has her record is so long. It seems that every year she had some type of arrest for robbery, for assault. I mean, the robbery that they were talking about, or the assault, whatever they pled it down to, was her and a co-defendant, and her co-defendant was 18. She was 21 at the time. Actually dragged a man out of their car, beat them up, and stole their stuff. I mean, and that was just one of her offenses. It's like a dangerous human being, and someone who is so unstable. I don't know what her lawsuit was, but it's like she wins a little bit of money, leaves her halfway house, blows all the money. And I think, again, this is for any of those, bleeding heart people who just want to, like, oh, they have this, blah, 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 blah. It seems that she has both her parents, her grandparents, are loving. She has her father in her life, as she quoted at the beginning, and she had every opportunity, but she can't get her act together. And it's all I'm doing is pointing out that people need to stop making excuses for people. It's not always about this, that. Yes, sometimes it is, but a lot of the times I do think it's just how people are wired. They do not want to put in the work that it takes to live life. They will take every advantage thrown their way and throw it out, and it's just small percentage of the world, a tiny percentage. But I think it's important for the world to see this small, tiny percentage and just understand that it's not everybody you can't save everybody, no matter how much money you throw at them, no matter how much opportunity. I mean, there's that saying that you take an addict and you give them the lottery, and they're not going to go on and do great things with their lives. They're probably just going to end up blowing all their money or dying, whichever comes first. And I think that this was an interesting use case. Again, we don't have all the context. We don't know how much money she, but that's not the point. The point is what she did with it. And yeah, interesting anomaly that she seems to, the way she seems to, who knows? I guess we don't know her story, but also interesting how she memorized her statement. We haven't seen that very often, maybe a couple of times. So, I mean, we know she has a head on her shoulders to be able to do that. I couldn't do that. So I need to start written down or I'll forget it. That's just the way my brain works. But yeah, if I do get the information from Sir Richard later and I can find a second hearing, like a rescission hearing or something, I'll probably pin it in the comment right in the description and make another hearing. That's another option if I get it after I publish this. So we're going to go and watch a few more hearings. Some of you members might have seen it, but most of you have not. So let's jump in.
Yes, ma'am. I received victim impact statements from multiple people involved in the case. I read all of those victim impact statements and they affected me greatly. I did not realize that I was committing a crime where so many people were involved. I thought it was victimless. And at the time, I did not consider the fact that all of these children had, feelings about the things that I was viewing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mandalorians, we are about to watch the parole hearing of a roach who was caught with material on his phone and only sentenced on January 4th, 2024, but already up for parole. Now, we know that these monsters exist, but what needs to be, I think, put out there more into the world is the DAs and the judges that sentence these monsters. You see, he's not even considered a sex offender. You will notice that he does not have a risk assessment for the static 99, nor does he have to register. So they made a deal with a monster. A deal when they release him, he won't have any restrictions except for his probation. Think about that. Let that sink in. Now, with that, let's jump in.
My name is Kevin R. Conklin, 422094.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Kevin Conklin, number 422094. He is serving a sentence of 3.5 years, followed by 10 years of probation for possession of child. Second, promotion of minor teen performance. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of January 4th, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the short track sex offender program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I don't have a pre-planned statement at all.
That's
You
fine.
don't, that's okay.
Is there anything you want to say?
All I can say is that I've been through the class. I learned a lot about myself and my offense, and that I'm prepared to make better choices going forward, and that all I can do is live one day at a time. I can only control what I do today, and that's the best I can do. I've been sober for 7.5 years, and I'm going to treat this offense just like I treat my alcoholism, one day at a time.
Okay, Mr. Conklin. Well, I certainly appreciate your limited comments. So the effects of what you did, Mr. Conklin, I didn't hear you express any apology to anyone affected, and I'm sure you are aware that there were several people that were affected by some of the information that you were passing around?
Yes, ma'am. I received victim impact statements from multiple people involved in the case. I read all of those victim impact statements and they affected me greatly. I did not realize that I was committing a crime where so many people were involved. I thought it was victimless. And at the time, I did not consider the fact that all of these children had, feelings about the things that I was viewing.
So what I'm going to say to you in relationship to that is that you indicated that you said that you were drinking, and even when you were sober, that you were still downloading these pictures. And you said you attribute committing this to having too much time on your hands. But you're 47 years old, Mr. Conklin, and you were not working. You indicated that you were collecting from the VA. So weren't there other activities that you felt you could have participated in when you realized what you were doing, the seriousness of what you were doing?
Yes, ma'am. I should have realized that sooner, but like I said, I thought it was a victimless crime. I wasn't considering the implications of what I was doing. I should have been building models or reading books or looking for work, but instead I was downloading.
So you said you completed a short-term sex offender program. What was your takeaway?
My takeaway is that I have to stop and pause and realize that there are consequences to my actions.
What else?
I don't recall anything other than the fact that I need to understand that there are consequences to the actions that I take, and that there is no victimless crime, especially this one.
Mr. Conklin, you don't kind of leave much for us to ask any questions, because I was expecting you to say, for example, what would cause you to go back and download and review pornographic material?
At this point, I don't have any desire to view any pornographic material, whether it's children or grown adult women or anything. I've lost the desire. I don't have any desire to look at anything like that, because I've been in jail for 3.5 years or 3 years, excuse me, and I just haven't had it on my mind. So all I can do is say that I don't have anything. I'm sorry.
So, what are you going to do so that you don't have time on your hands? You had indicated that you're gonna get your VA benefits reinstated. You're gonna attend meetings and find a warehouse employment and working on getting your driver's license. But I'm sure that there must be, you're telling me here that you absolutely don't feel the need to go out and download any more of this. So what are you gonna fill your time with? Because you're not doing anything different.
Ma'am, I plan on working 40+ hours a week, and I realize that I can go back to building models, which is something that I did when I first quit drinking. I used to build models all the time. And so I can do that to occupy my time. I still have a nice desk that's set up for my model building.
Well, Mr. Conklin, I just have to say, when I read some of that information on the impact of the victim, and you came here today and just shared that you were also sent those statements, but yet still you had nothing to say in relationship to that. And that was concerning. You also have a drug score of 5. You said your longest sobriety was 4.5 years.
Yes, ma'am. That's now 7.5 years.
Okay. And so, alcohol is available. It's not an illegal drug. So I didn't hear you put in place, how you're going to, what your urges and cravings are, what you're going to do when those things happen. I didn't hear you put anything in place for that. And, you partially said drinking was what led you to download these pornographic materials. So, Mr. Conklin, I have no further questions for you at this time, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Ms. Barry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Conklin, you're really not giving us a lot of information to work with here. There were some discrepancies in the materials that we read opposed to what you're saying today. For example, when the chair asked you about your avoiding being in this situation again in the future, you said, well, I have no desire. And for me, that really is not sufficient enough. I need for you to have expressed an interest in being attracted, and these are your words, to everything. And that means your child and your adult porn, all of those things. There has to be some kind of plan to avoid this from happening again. And I understand that being incarcerated can absolutely be a deterrent, but we would like to hear your plan in terms of no longer doing this. Granted, you're going to be engaged in treatment for a number of years when you're released from the facility. And part of that, you will be required to participate in lie detector tests, and they will detect whether or not you've come in contact with children, you've been at the mall or gone to church, and whether or not, they'll look at your phone and through your computers. All of that freedom that you used to have before is no longer. So those things are going to interfere with your life as you knew it, sir. And it's important that you have a plan in place so that you can complete the remainder of your sentence successfully. So after I've shared all of that, is there any more information that you would like to provide us with?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next, I saw that you were going to collect your VA benefits. Now you're telling us you're going to work.
Yes,
Where are
ma'am.
you going to do? Where are you going to work these 40 or 50 hours that you talked to my colleague about?
There used to be a link on our tablets called Honest Jobs, and I looked up warehouse work, and there's warehouse work all throughout the Hartford area, Windsor, and in East Hartford and Manchester. There's all kinds of warehouse work. So I have no doubt that I'll be able to make that kind of employment decision.
Okay. So I'm just curious, when were you interviewed by the parole officer?
Just now.
The parole officer just interviewed you today?
No. I don't understand. I saw the parole officer about a month ago, I guess.
And a month ago, you told the officer that you weren't going to work, that you were going to collect your VA benefits. So I'm
That is not-
asking, okay,
That is not what I told that officer. I told the officer that I was collecting those benefits, but that I would be looking for work.
okay. And so you also made a statement that you're going to reinstate your benefits from the VA.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently collecting those benefits?
I am collecting those benefits.
So why would you be reinstating it then if it's
I
already?
never at any point said reinstate, ma'am. I don't know where that came from because I've been collecting those benefits since I've been in prison.
So the officer just got the report wrong.
I believe so.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez?
Madam Chair, I have no questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, Mr. Conklin, we are going to deliberate on the record. You can listen but not say anything. So for me, Mr. Conklin, presentation today is very concerning. He for young victims that were impacted by him downloading pornographic material and passing it on. However, when he was asked about it, he said that he did receive several information on the ones that were impacted, and that's when he realized that they were the seriousness of the victims impacted. The fact of the matter is he never said anything in his opening comments, and it is very concerning. When he was also asked about what plans does he have in place that will fill the void of time on his hands, his response was working 40 hours a week. But he did say to the parole officer that he's going to reinstate his VA benefits and seek employment at a warehouse. He has no guarantee that employment at the warehouse is going to be full-time or part-time. So I think Mr. Conklin, bottom line, still have some more work to do. He should have probably added to his OAP's voices. He has addiction services with a substance abuse score of 5. So I think he needs to take an addiction services program. And he also needs to take the Voices program, which will give him a better understanding of the impact of his crime on victims. So for me, I have Mr. Conklin denied for the nature and circumstances of the offense, inadequate institutional program participation, and no evidence of offender change. So, Barry.
Thank you. I also have Mr. Conklin denied discretionary parole. I do believe that a tier is appropriate given his score. While I can appreciate his having completed the sex offender treatment, he really didn't provide us with any substantive information as to how he would be able to avoid these behaviors in the future. Boredom, we all get bored. I really do hope that he comes up with a more robust plan. I would assume that because he's in his late 40s, his mother is probably in her late 60s, probably doesn't really know how to navigate on a computer and things like that, or check over his shoulder to see what he's doing. I understand that that's where he wants to go to reside. And I would just caution him that I say all that because it's probably going to be easy for him to fall into, that cycle of boredom again. I just hope that this was a lesson learned and that he won't revisit us again.
Okay, so I'm going to add inadequate release plan for that. So in the case of,
I have
Yeah,
two
one
questions. I also just want to have
oh, sorry.
yeah, my denial as well of Ms. Coppin's discretionary parole. I mean, basically for many of the same reasons. I mean, I just didn't see, he just didn't give us anything that would indicate for us the ability to be able to release him today. He's got an EOS in June of 2025. He's got 10 years of probation to follow. I'm sure that'll be enough to take care of him and to give him the opportunity to have whatever supports he needs on the outside if he chooses to use them at that particular point. But I was allowed to as well.
Okay, I'm sorry. So in the case of Kevin Conklin, inmate number 422094, there is a motion to deny discretionary parole due to the nature and circumstances of the current offense, inadequate institutional program participation, no evidence of offender change, and inadequate release plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Conklin, we hope that you will spend your time there taking other positive programs. And I wish you the best of luck and come up with a good release plan for when you're released into the community. Okay, so good luck.
All right, thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Kevin Conklin, number 422094.
What a repulsive thing. I'm not sure, is repulsive the right word? Just there's something so, yeah, I think repulsive is good. Just nasty. Cockroach is the right word. Just a waste. What a waste of life. Can you imagine that the DA wouldn't take this opportunity to throw the absolute book at this thing? Instead, you give this thing a gift. And again, this wasn't his first offense. I'm going through the information that Lady Holly has on this. And he has a long record of driving under the influence. 5/11/2018, illegal operating of a vehicle while under narcotics. 2/10/2017, illegal operating a vehicle under narcotics. 8/19/17, illegal operating of a vehicle under narcotics. And then this offense. And they give 12 years jail, suspended after 42 months, 10 years probation. And again, as far as I can tell, he's not in the sex registry. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, he hasn't had the need or urge while he's been locked up in prison. Now he's out. He is out of prison at the time of this recording, doing who knows what. I mean, she said that he'll have his 10 years probation. He'll have to take his lie detector test, because we all know the lie detector test. Wow, those things are solid. And I don't have any information to share, but it seems from what I can gather is that he was collecting it. He was distributing it. We've seen enough of these type of people on predator catcher YouTube channels, right? What they're doing. But it seems like it's possible that they actually had a victim or victims who were identified. Like actually people who wrote letters, which makes this case even more so insane. And it's like, why would you as a DA give someone who is already a danger to the community, who gets in the car and drinks and drives and gets arrested over and over and over again. Why give this person, I'm just like, of course, why give him a break, period? But when you add that on top of it, and you can see by his, I mean, there's nothing likable about the human being. Like, how would you, it's just so frustrating. And we're going to go and see a revocation hearing soon of someone who was locked up for physically essaying I think a 15-month-old, and he got out on parole and is revoked for not registering, revoked for disappearing, revoked. And I'm just, we're going to see it because it just goes to show how dangerous, of course, these monsters are. They get out and then they disappear. You can't watch them 24/7. Like, for a second to think that he's going to be safe in the public, you have to be drunk on the Kool-Aid. Don't worry. He's going to make his model airplanes. Even the little bit that he spoke, the lies that he said. Oh, I did this because I was drinking, but he says he's been sober for 7 years. Right? Where's the math add up on that? His last DUI is what? 2017. I guess if you believe he had his last drink when his last DUI, which I don't believe it, anyways. I mean, he was caught on his. I mean, either way, you don't. Neither here nor there, right? His maximum sentence was 3 years and 6 months for this, even though he had on the books suspended sentences for his DUIs. He had 18 months suspended for one DUI, 6 months suspended for another DUI, 6 months suspended for another I mean, they could have gotten him just on those, right? But it's all a gimmick. It's all a gimmick. It's really something else. I don't know what else to say. I mean, there are some people where it just speaks for themselves. Their hearing speaks for itself. The parole board was disgusted by it as well. But I think that really it comes down to the DAs, the judges that allow these monsters to get away with the most insane. I mean, I checked with Sir Richard to double check because I don't see him on the registry. I don't see him it just doesn't make sense. He didn't have a static 9/9 risk assessment. He just had one risk assessment. So I think that's the conclusion. Anyways, if he does come back, we'll cover it. But now let's go watch this revocation hearing. So let's go.
Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. First, I will read you your rights. Then we will review the parole violation charges that the state, your parole officer, is bringing against you. Then I will review and identify exhibits filed for the record. Your attorney will have an opportunity to present all relevant testimony and conduct cross-examination. After considering all the evidence presented, I will announce my findings. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, your attorney will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. Do you have any questions about the purpose or procedure before we begin?
No, I didn't receive any of the evidence, though. I was supposed to receive the evidence. I didn't receive it. This happened to me the last time. It's a constant violation of my due process to pardon and parole and Hartford parole officers. I'm also
Sir?
Yeah.
Okay, do you wish to not go forward with the hearing today?
No,
You want a continuance?
No, I'm just putting it on the record.
Okay, and we reviewed the evidence both on January 17th and January 27th, correct? The charges against you?
I have a TBI, so I'm unaware exactly what we had a conversation, but I do remember speaking with you.
Okay, are you competent to go forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir. I just also wanted on the record that Hartford Parole, under the supervision of Lisa Brayfield and Brian Norton, with Supervisor Brian Ford, violated my supervisional neglect, and that is the reason why I'm in this wheelchair.
okay.
That's the reason why I'm in this wheelchair and don't have my mobility.
Okay.
When I was released last year, I was walking.
Sir, this is not the venue nor the time to address that concern. If you wish to address that concern and feel your individual rights have been violated by the state of Connecticut, you should hire a private attorney, sir, to represent you in a court of law. This is a parole revocation proceeding, okay, sir?
Understood.
Thank you. Are you ready to go forward?
Yes.
You have important rights at this hearing, which I now will review with you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney at this hearing. You have the right to receive written notice of charges of violation. You have the right to review the evidence against you before this hearing. You have a right to submit evidence in support of your case. At this hearing, you have the right to call and examine voluntary witnesses and to cross-examine adverse witnesses. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
We now will review the charges that the state your parole officer is bringing against you and the information underlying each charge. Charge 1, obedience to the law. On December 31st, 2024, you were served with a warrant for 3 counts of failure to register with the Sex Offender Registry 54251 by the Hartford Police Department for the following dates: July 18th, 2022, April 19th, 2024, and July 19th, 2024. Because you failed to register your address with the Connecticut Sex Offender Registry as required by law. Charge 2, halfway house placement. On October 23rd, 2024, you were issued a misconduct for not following program rules and being disrespectful to staff. On the date above, you walked into the front office at the Cheney House and asked for a box of cigarettes. Staff opened the box so that you could take 1 cigarette, but you attempted to take the whole box. Staff informed you that you could not take the box, but could take 1 cigarette. You again attempted to take the whole box away from the staff member, and you were directed not to touch staff. You called staff a wild bitch and exited the office. On October 16th, 2024, you had a meeting with your case manager, Ch0m0, Pineros, who you met within the computer room. According to Ch0m0, Pineros, you were upset and started to explain your frustrations to the case manager. You believe that the case manager was out to get you, but would not allow them to speak. The case manager raised their voice to tell you the session was over, and you exited the room. Within seconds, you entered the room, and Ch0m0, Pineros did not feel safe alone in the room with you. You were asked again to leave the room, which you did. The state has filed the following exhibits. Exhibit A, parole conditions. Exhibit B, remand to custody order. Exhibit C, parole violation report. Exhibit D, notice of parole violation. Exhibit E, misconduct. Exhibit F, misconduct. Exhibit G, Cheney House incident report. Exhibit H, Happy House incident report. Exhibit I, Hartford Police Department arrest warrant. Exhibit J, DOC halfway house agreement. Exhibit K, notice of parole violation. The state has found an addendum to Exhibit C, which states on January 2nd, 2025, Mr. Babcock pled guilty to 1 count failure to register and was sentenced to unconditional discharge. The 2 counts of failure to register were nollied under docket ending in 317. Counsel, did you receive the notice of parole violation report, and other documents that were just marked for identification purposes?
Yes, I have.
Defense has also filed Exhibit 1, parole accomplishments and future plans for parole reinstatement, and Exhibit 2, letter from church documenting Mr. Babcock's volunteer work. Today, we have no witnesses, and it is now the defense opportunity to present evidence and speak to any of the evidence submitted. Counsel?
Yes, because of the conviction, I've got no comment as to the preponderance standard as to charge 1. Not only that the conduct is from 7/18 or 7/19/2022 dated. As to charge 2, I don't think that any of that conduct rises to the level of being an altercation. I certainly think he absolutely did nothing to make this person, quote unquote, not feel safe in the room with him. He wished to speak with the supervisor. He was wishing to voice an explanation about what something happened. They asked him to leave the room, and he left the room. Whether or not he called staff, quote unquote, a wild bitch or not, He asked if he could have a box of cigarettes. They said he could have a box. They handed it to him, and then they said, no, you can only have one. He was frustrated. I don't think that that should rise to the level of an altercation and violate the conditions of his parole or the halfway house agreement. I don't believe it meets the preponderance standard. Thank you. I've got no further comment as to the preponderance standard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Can I
at the
say
moment,
something?
oh, yes,
Can I
regarding
say
the
something
charges.
else? Yes,
Regarding the
please.
charges?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as the one with the staff member in the office with the box of cigarettes, I was instructed by the staff member that brought us out to smoke break to go grab my pack of cigarettes. And after the situation, the director, Jessica Rivera, brought me the pack of cigarettes and handed it to me. So that whole situation could have been avoided. She was also touching the filters of the cigarettes, which I placed to my mouth with bare hands and not using gloves. And that's the reason why I used that language, which I reluctantly, I should have used different words. But it was very frustrating, and especially being instructed to go do something and then another staff member not allowing me to, when I've never had this issue prior with any other staff. As far as the second misconduct with my case manager, from the moment that I stepped in that house, I was moved there because I had a no stairs order that was at Watkinson House not being honored. And not until I printed it out and handed it to every staff member months afterwards was it actually acknowledged that same day. The director was in full knowledge of it for more than a month and didn't do anything about it. My parole officer at the time, Brian Norton, didn't do anything about it. And after I went to the mayor's office and the governor's office, which was what I was speaking to my Panero about, because she was restricting my due process of reporting the misconduct and the 88 violations that I was experiencing. They called the court and made my parole officer for the very first time come down there and actually see me, because and I made sure that in the front foyer that I had it on video and audio that he specifically said I had no idea of your physical medical conditions and that you could not walk.
Okay,
So
sir.
the misconduct from this individual, and then because he was in such violation, he manufactured these misconducts and then came to me with misconducts and said if I did not sign them, that he was going to remand me back to prison, which is a violation of my due process. He didn't care about what I said. He didn't look at no video. And he specifically said that it didn't matter what the truth was. He believed whatever the counselor said. And I never stepped back into the room. I thought the door didn't close. So I went back to the door to make sure that it was secure. And that's when she was waving her hands and acting crazy. She actually came to the office, the front office, and apologized for her conduct because she had a mental health breakdown.
Thank you, Mr. Babker. I'm going to take a moment before I announce my my findings. Regarding charge 1, obedience to the law, I make a finding based on Mr. Babker's conviction as well as State's Exhibits A, C, and I. Charge 2, halfway house placement, I make a finding based on State's Exhibits A, C, E, F, G, H, and J. That concludes the fact-finding portion of this hearing. Before I make my recommendation, your attorney will have an opportunity to speak to your background history. Counsel?
Yes. The conviction is from an incident which occurred in 2022. I don't know when his last violation of parole was, but if it was after 2022, it certainly should have and could have been addressed then. I don't know how long it took them to serve this warrant. My client is 42 years of age. He receives significant familial support from his mother. The remainder of his family lives out of state. He has one 19-year-old son. Currently, he has been developing a curriculum to teach financial literacy course through Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program, SCRIP, their Ascend program. He has worked in the past. It's a cognitive behavioral change program to develop life and professional skills for career advancement. In the past, he studied aerospace manufacturing at Manchester Community College through Best Chance for a Second Chance. As I stated, he participated in Second Chance Reinitiative Script program and Ascend, where he's receiving sociology credits. He had been in the determination process at the time of his remand for a disability. And so being remanded, it was a setback, completely set that back. And he's gone now in the process of reapplying for a disability. As he stated, he had been trying to the people in the halfway house to tell them that this was an inappropriate placement because of the stare restriction. And he had gone up the chain of up to even to the governor's office. And I believe that's a reason why there was friction between he and the supervisory staff there. I'm not saying that makes him what he said right, but it certainly explains his frustration. There's no violence here. He's not a threat to the community. He's been incarcerated now for some time. He's been incarcerated for 2 months. He has a herniated disc in his back and a pinched sciatic nerve, which requires him to be in a wheelchair. He
I have pectoral pain syndrome that was incurred while at Watkinson House. I did not have this condition prior to that. That was the reason for my no stairs order and proof of the neglect and the misconduct of parole.
So he's interested in teaching financial literacy. Like I said, he wishes to reapply for disability for his medical purposes. He's been in jail too.
And I was 3 times a week going to Center Church at downtown Hartford. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Okay. No, it's okay. We have a letter, Exhibit 2 from Center Church. He volunteered at their outreach center for approximately 45 days. Mr. Babkirk does have a documented disability that would some days leave him in excruciating pain or discomfort, yet he would always show up for service just to help how he could. This is not the type of individual that should just be sitting in jail. He should be in an appropriate placement. He is not a difficult person, as they would have you believe. I believe the circumstances that he was placed in has unfortunately made him feel a little disenfranchised and set aside by the system. And so I think while I think he was approaching the problem the right way, I just think he was frustrated with the answers and the lack of help he was getting. And I can't imagine how frustrated I would be just being confined to a wheelchair. But on top of that, being confined to a halfway house with strict rules at his age, having raised a 19-year-old, he's an intelligent man. I think it speaks volumes that this is the only sanction that we have here, and that he's handled himself so professionally. And so I think that should be commended. He's been in jail for 2 months. He's not going to learn any more lessons staying in jail that he hasn't already learned. And so for those reasons, I'd ask that he be released on the next possible date. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to take a recess before I announce my recommendation.
Okay.
Okay, we are now back on the record. Mr. Babkirk, I have that this is your 5th violation. Since you were on your 4th violation, you were in the community for about 9 months. You did receive 2 misconducts that I have on that was noted. This is your 2nd criminal violation. You also have an absconder in your history. And this is not your first time with failing to register per your history. Taking into consideration your history, what was testified here today, as well as what your attorney put on record, as well as this current violation, I recommend revoke and reparole on June 30th, 2025, which is an approximate 6-month sanction with the following conditions. No consumption of alcohol, anger management, no contact with victims A, J without the express permission of your parole officer, halfway house placement, mental health treatment, no contact with minors, and problem sexual behavior treatment. My findings and recommendations we forward to the board, and you will receive official written decision from the board, and your board review is scheduled on March 6, 2025. So if the board adopts my recommendation, then you would go into June 30th. If they don't, they can lessen my recommendation if they don't adopt my recommendation, or they can exceed my recommendation, being that you're on supervision until December 2026. Okay, so that does conclude the revocation hearing.
So, sir, on March 7th, okay, give me a call or have someone give me a call. We'll have an answer as to when you're going to be released on March 6th. A recommendation is a 6-month sanction, but it's up to the board to make a final decision. Okay, sir?
Yes, I'm having a problem with my counselor. She's violating my due process, and I've already done an informal resolution and a grievance process with it. I'm just stating.
Sir, do you mean your counselor? This is not a public forum. Do you mean your counselor? You mean your counselor in jail?
Yes, counselor in jail.
So you should complain to the counselor supervisor.
I have,
and
sir.
Then to the deputy warden. Okay.
I have, sir. I have, sir. Still having an issue.
If you feel you're due to your rights, your constitutional rights,
yes,
okay, if you feel this is cruel and unusual punishment, or if you feel your due process rights have been violated, you should contact a private attorney. Okay, sir?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And they stuck to that 6-month sanction, but the time of this recording, he's out. He finished his sanction. He's back out in the streets or getting his tax-funded, halfway house, and it just is what it is, right? I mean, this is what happens, and it doesn't. Well, we can go and look at his record, and remember, he was arrested. 53-21A, injury or risk of injury to a child, illegal sexual contact under 16 years old. That's the deal they gave him in the legislation. Under 16. Let me screen share it with you, right? So you can see it yourself. I mean, you got to see it to believe it, surely. So 2/10/2012, he's convicted. He's released 5 years later. They gave him a deal, so under 16 years old. When this is his offense, this is what he did to a 14-month. And these morons, they give him, under 16, let's give him a break. Someone like that, you can't. And then he gets revoked. How many times does he get revoked? We have here in his criminal record, what did they say? I forgot. They just said it. Was it like 4 or 5 revocations? Even though his attorney, Mr. Mangaletti.
Everybody has a terrible time trying to pronounce his name. How do you spell that again? I'm like family and Getty. Family and Getty.
Helpful. Family. Absolutely. Go ahead, attorney.
And
tried his best. He always tries his best. It's his job. He's gotta try to protect the Ch0m0s. What else can he learn? He's been locked up for 2 months already. And he's arrested 12/31/2024, sentenced 1/2/2025 for failure to register. So he did actually catch that as an official felony. So that is in his jacket. Which is nice, because oftentimes they don't even put that in as a felony.
I find it hard to believe you don't know the difference.
I'm telling you the truth.
Between a 12-year-old and a 19, that's a huge gap.
I understand.
Did you question why she didn't drive?
She told me she just got back from South Carolina and that she hadn't got her license yet.
And did you ask her about work, school?
Yes,
I mean,
she said she was starting a job at a daycare. And she was starting a job at the daycare.
we talked every hour of the day. She was never in school.
Right. He had no idea that she was 12. He thought that she was 19. Of course, a very innocent mistake. But surely the DA, the judge that prosecuted this case, that would sentence him, surely they couldn't make an innocent mistake like this. Surely they wouldn't sentence a monster, a married father who would do this to a 12-year-old to simple 30 months in prison. I mean, as a matter of fact, he was only sentenced on June 14th of 2024 and up for parole about a year later. You really can't make it up. Now, mom found the text messages between his 12-year-old daughter and this 43-year-old male and said, "What is going on?" She called the police. The police issued a search warrant on her daughter's phone, then received a search warrant on his phone, and they found out that not only were they actively talking, but that they had met up at least 3 separate times and had engaged in full-on activity. So, with all of this evidence, they still give this monster a sweetheart deal. And to add insult to injury, they rank him a 0 risk on the static 99. He will never offend again.
Good morning. I'm Jason Hansen, 448-699.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration for parole application for Jason Hansen from Part 8699. He is serving a sentence of 10 years execution suspended after 30 months with 10 years of probation for a sexual assault 3rd degree and risk of injury to a child. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of August 1st, 2025. There is victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the following programs: problem sexual behavior short term, utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores. The offender's overall score for recidivism falls in the low range. There is also a static 99 score of a 0, which falls in the low range. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't prepared. I didn't know I was coming today. But first of all, I would like to apologize to her and her family and wish them the best in the future. I will absolutely never do anything to ever come back in here again. Sorry, I'm not extremely prepared. But moving forward, I've completed all my classes, and I will do any classes that are required for getting out. I will attend every meeting. I will never miss a parole meeting. I just want to live a law-abiding life. Any restrictions placed upon me, I will follow to the letter. I will be checking in with the parole officer to make sure that I don't do anything incorrect. I've never been in trouble my entire life, and this has been just a really awakening experience to make sure that I teach my kids to be honest and to always obey every aspect of the law and accept the consequences for actions that you've taken. And from the very beginning, I've cooperated with the law enforcement, told them the truth of everything that's happened, and that I was just open and honest and tried to help them with their investigation from the beginning. And I was extremely ashamed of myself and just absolutely horrified with what was done. And moving forward, I never want to get in trouble again in my life. I am going to be focusing hard on getting a pardon to get this off of my record, because I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be in this situation. That I will never do anything wrong in my life, never drink and drive.
You're repeating yourself now, so we're going to move forward with the hearing. Okay.
I'm sorry.
When did you think your hearing was?
September 30th.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just
But you had
completed
your
license.
interview and yeah, I mean, you knew we were getting ready for it. All right. I mean, we could ask for a continuance if you'd like.
No, I'll keep going.
Right, very good. We're gonna ask you some questions now, okay? When we're done with our questions, we'll turn to the Office of Victim Services for some input from them. Then we'll deliberate and give you our decision here today.
Okay.
All right, we'll begin with my colleague, Mr. Sarkoff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Hanson.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I've heard you apologize to the victim and the family. How did this happen?
It was on an online adult website, and there was a chat room, and we started talking, and her profile with pictures and everything said she was 19. And so we, met up, and there was nothing for me to say that she wasn't. And I just, when I found out, I was absolutely horrified. I could not believe it.
When did you first meet the victim?
It was like 3 or 4 days after we had started talking. We talked a lot on the site and everything.
Did you meet her online before that?
No, that was just I'd never met her before in my life. It was just on this website. And that's another thing I've learned from my class is that I was seeking instant gratification and not really trying for a real relationship. And I've not had any type of relationship, any contact with women at all since this has happened. I'm trying to focus on myself to be a better person and figure out why I was looking for the instant gratification. And when I get out, I will continue to do counseling.
So you didn't meet the victim when she was living in a different state? She was younger?
No, not at all.
How do you think this affected the victim? This offense?
I'm sure it affected her a great deal, and I'm hoping that she's able to get the necessary help to get over this and to live a great life. I wish nothing but the best for them.
You took the short track sex offender program in the facility, right?
Yeah, I completed that.
Did you learn anything about yourself from the program?
Yeah, I was, seeking the instant gratification, not trying for a real relationship, and I was just looking out for my needs. And when I should have been, spending more time with my kids and not focusing on finding somebody, just to try and fill a void. And when I get out, that's all I'm gonna do is spend time with my kids, try and be there for them, because this has been extremely hard on them as well. And I feel horrible that I put them in this position. My oldest son has had to drop out of UConn to support himself. I'm hoping to get out and help him get back into school, and I would like to get back into school as well and finish my degree in finance.
Did you figure out what your triggers are?
Just looking for something quick right then and there, and I will never online date again. I will never have social media. I can't stand social media or the online dating. It has, caused me a great deal. And it was partly what led to my marriage falling apart.
You also took the Voices program, right?
Yes.
Completed that this month?
Yes, I completed that this month.
What are your takeaways from Voices? What did you learn there?
I put down that to listen to people, like when they go through trauma, to not try and fix it, to, you know, listen to what they're, just to listen and be supportive, and to just be there for them and let them tell you what they need, not try and go through and try and fix their problems when you don't have a clue what they're going through.
Okay. Whatever happens today, you'll be on the sex offender registry. If you'll be
Yes.
supervised by probation for 10 years.
Yes.
You'll have to do treatment in the community.
Yes, I'm do anything that is required of me. I will be there for every meeting, every class, whatever is required, I will be there and get it done.
What do you think is
I
going to
have-
be what do you think is going to be most difficult for you in the community?
Nothing. There is nothing more important than this, being at all of the meetings, all the classes, to never return to this facility or any other facility. I will not let anything stand in the way of getting to where I need to be to get these things completed.
What do you see as the role of probation and parole officer?
Just to, you know, oversee what I do with my daily aspects of my life, and to make sure that I'm obeying all of my laws and restrictions, and just that I'm, you know, living a law-abiding citizen's life.
And I would say that certainly it is about accountability, but it's also a resource for you in the community.
Yeah,
So think of it that way.
I will be asking questions of the parole officer or probation officer to make sure that I don't do anything wrong. That I will ask first before doing, not to do something and then find out later that I did something wrong. I don't want to do anything wrong in my life again. I want to make sure that I do everything correctly. So I will use them as a resource to ask questions before I, you know, do something.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hanson, for answering my questions.
Thank you, Mr. Zarko. Ms. Smith-Plummer? I do not have it. All right, Mr. Hanson, so I think I read that you asked the victim for a birth certificate?
She provided, she had said she had one just to make sure.
Okay, but if you did not suspect that she was minor, why would you need to see a birth certificate?
She just offered it.
You didn't find that strange? If someone said to me, let me show you my birth certificate, I would find that a little odd.
I don't know what that is. I really don't know. And
You have 3 children, right?
yes. Look, she showed me graduation pictures. She was just showing me all sorts of stuff.
Graduated from what? I mean, you know, could have been
From high
middle
school.
How
No,
did you know
it was high school. Because she had cap and gown and the
Yeah, middle schools do that too.
I don't know that. My kids' middle schools did not.
Okay, well, there are other places that do. I mean, I've gone to kindergarten graduations. I mean, I find it hard to believe you don't know the difference
I'm telling you the truth.
between a 12-year-old and a 19. That's a huge gap.
I
Why did you
understand.
did you question why she didn't drive?
She told me she just got back from South Carolina and that she hadn't got her license yet.
Hey, did you ask her about work, school?
Yes,
I mean,
she said she was starting a job at a daycare. And yeah, she was starting a job at the daycare. We talked every hour of the day. She was never in school. I had nothing to lead me to believe.
So I'm sure you know that kids are on their cell phones all day long, even while they're at school.
It was on FaceTime.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, you know, You made a statement that online dating and social media cost you a great deal. I would say your actions cost you a great deal.
Yes, and yes, going forward, I will not be on any type of social media, any online dating. I will not meet a woman unless I know her for a long time, or there will be no type of relationship at all. My biggest thing going forward is to be with my kids and to look for their future. And I have
yeah,
zero.
and speaking of which, where were your kids all this time you were spending talking to the victim?
My kids were either at their mother's or asleep. Then my kids are 16, 18, and 20.
Yeah, I understand. I know how old they are. Pretty
The
close in age,
youngest
I
is
mean.
mostly, my youngest is at his mother's most of the time.
Yeah. Have you thought, I
And-
mean, have you thought about how you would feel if your youngest at 12 was sexually assaulted by a 45-year-old woman?
Yeah, it would be, I feel horrible. And
Yeah.
I feel absolutely horrible and disgusted
Yeah.
that
Okay.
happened. I have taken accountability from the day I found out.
Yeah. Okay. But saying you're just not going to interact with people is not the answer, sir, is my point, I guess.
That's,
You know,
I'm not.
Mr. Hanson, you know, we live in a world where you can't get by without using a computer of some level. You
I'm
just have
not
to be
fighting-
smarter, and you have to make
Yes.
better decisions, better choices.
I'm saying that I'm not going
Yeah.
to use the internet to find somebody to date.
Right. Got it. Okay.
Because I don't want to find myself in any type of situation. And
Yeah.
going forward, I will not date anybody that's not age appropriate.
Right.
Like, that's not close to my age range. Because
Okay. When did you finish the Voices program?
the voices, she submitted the paperwork on the 22nd, I believe.
Okay. All right. Okay, at this point, I'm going to ask the Office of Victim Services to provide input. We'll ask that you listen, but please don't interrupt at all. Ms. Hamlet-Williams, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did speak with the mother of the victim on August 5th, who did express that she had input for today. However, I have not heard back after several attempts.
Okay.
So I do not have input for today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that update. And we did have a previous statement that, wait, did we read? Let me see. Maybe I'm mixing it up. Yeah, we did have a previous victim impact statement that in the file, attached to the file. So we did have that. Thank you. All right, Mr. Hanson, give us a few minutes to discuss your case. We'll come back to you shortly with our decision. Go
One
ahead.
second.
Yeah.
Did you see that both the case in Torrington and this case is from the same exact instance? They just saw it completely different?
Yeah, no, what do you mean? That you're two offenses? Yeah, we understand.
Okay. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sarkar?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Hanson is here convicted of a very serious offense, sexual assault in the 3rd degree. That was a very concerning conviction. This is his first arrest, first conviction. He has no criminal history. He rates low in the risk assessment to recidivate. Took programs in the facility. Took responsibility for his offense, and he cooperated with the investigation throughout. I will be willing to grant him discretionary parole today. His end of sentence is September next year, so this will give him about a year head start in supervision, which I think he can use in the community. That's where I am.
Thank you. What conditions do you propose?
problem sexual behavior treatment, and no contact with the victim, ZN.
Thank you. Ms. Smith Palmieri.
I would agree with that assessment. And, you know, I also take note in the summary of his treatment, his sex offender treatment. The clinician does note that his work reflected his remorse and, you know, identified his actions and understood the gravity of what he had done. So I do believe that he's suitable for discretionary parole today. And I would question whether or not we should use the no computer.
Enhanced internet and device monitoring. Yes, I absolutely would, in addition to no contact with minors without the parole officer's permission. Okay.
Check with the victim. Yeah.
Very good. In the matter of Jason Hansen, inmate number 448699, I'll move to grant parole. It's on or after today, August 26th, 2025, with the following additional conditions. You'll have no contact with the victim, initial ZN. You're to have no contact with minors without the permission of your parole officer. You'll participate in problem sexual behavior treatment in the community, and you'll have enhanced internet and device monitoring. Anything further? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you'll get all of this in writing. Do you have questions, sir?
Thank you very much. I will not let
Please.
you down.
Keep working on yourself, okay?
I 100% will. I'm going to be
All right.
continuing my therapy, and thank you.
Good luck to you.
This concludes the hearing for Jason Hansen.
Have a good day.
You too.
You can't make it out. You just can't. This parole board, it's like they're psychopaths. It's like, oh, we need to give him an early start in supervision. Let's parole him. He just sat here and he lied to you. He lied and he lied and he lied. I thought she was 19. I mean, surely I thought that. I knew for sure. I was, oh no, it was my, it was my bad marriage that led me into this. And they just go with it. And here, I'll read to you the article. We'll go over that. We'll go over the static 99. He's ranked a 0 on the static 99, which is insane. But it's those put in charge to protect us that will allow these predators, these monsters, these Ch0m0s to continue to get away with it. And it is getting away with it. There are, I would not be surprised if you asked 100 Ch0m0s, put them in a room, and you would say, well, you would have a relationship with a 12-year-old. And you will get the opportunity to do it with her for 3 times. Now, on the flip side, you're going to have to spend about 15 months in prison. What percentage of those Ch0m0s do you think would say, yeah, sign me up. Where do I sign? Let's go. It's their ultimate fantasy. I mean, if a genie came out and said, Mandoo, you could be a professional baseball player for a season, or even, you know what, a game. You'll hit a home run, but you'll have to spend 15 months in prison after. I don't know, I gotta tell you, I struggle, and I'm sure you put 100 people in the room in a similar situation, you'd get a large portion that would say, where do I sign? It's crazy. People will, this is not punishment. It's worth it for them. And then the add insult to injury, he gets away with just the lying. It's like they look at him and say, oh, okay. All right, you either you believe that he's lying, or you think he's saying the truth. Either way, the parole board, you dropped the ball. Punish him. And for those of you who say, man, well, they want him out in early supervision, they don't want him. I point this out in the other hearings where we will see those who are locked up for possession of a firearm or DUI, and the parole board say, you know what? I just can't take the risk on you. You're too much of a danger. And they'll keep them locked up for another year because of that. So we know they can do it, but they choose not to. Because they're agenda-driven psychopaths, in my opinion. I don't know, psychopath, I know it's a strong word. They're not psychopaths, but they don't care. or they're so drunk on the Kool-Aid where they think that Ch0m0's, where they just don't understand Ch0m0's. I don't know. Man charged with assault. Okay, can you believe this is written only May 1st, 2023? A Vernon Torrington man had been accused of engaging with a minor. He was 42 at the time, charged April 27th with first-degree essay and fourth-degree essay to a child. I think he was facing legislation. Let's go look at this to see how much time he was facing. What is first-degree essay in Connecticut? Any of you who's not following me on Twitter, give me a follow. First-degree essay legislation in state of Connecticut. I'm just curious what he was facing. Under 16. Under 16, Class A felony. The victim's under 13, which she was. 15, okay, well, tell me what it is. Maximum sentence. Life imprisonment, 60 years. He was facing, think about this. I want you to think about this. When he was arrested for this, he was facing life in prison, which is 60-year minimum. If I understood that correctly, which I'm pretty sure I did. Maximum sentence, Class A felony, mandatory minimum, non-suspendable, and enemy cases victim is a child, which he was. So, and what kind of plea deal do they give him? They give him a plea deal, even though they have evidence through the phones. They settle on 30 months or whatever. How does that make any sense? It's because they don't have a backbone? No, it's because they I don't know what it is, but it's sick. You could have negotiated a 10-year prison sentence. You could have negotiated a 15-year prison, but no. Let's just let him off. He is free on a promise. He was held without bond. Free on a promise in Vernon Superior Court, June 23rd. The affidavit supporting his arrest provides the following detail. Wow. Free on a promise to appear. They let this imagine if this was your daughter. These judges and they are sick. They are dangerous. They are put in charge to protect their community, and they let this monster out on a self-reconnaissance bond when facing a life sentence. The affidavit supporting it just shows they do not take any of this seriously. In April, a woman reports to police that she discovered her juvenile daughter engaging in an inappropriate relationship with adult men. She spoke to a few of the men to inform them how old her daughter was, and one of them was named Jason. He believed her daughter was 19, she said. The woman shared the phone number she had used, and police connected it back to Hansen. She also gave police permission to seize her daughter's phone. Based on the messages between Hansen and the girl, it appeared they were in some type of serious relationship, as they frequently said, "I love you." Wow. That doesn't sound like very clear-cut grooming. No. Let's believe him. He thought that she was 19. Let's believe him. You know, I guess if I had a PhD, if I was a judge or a district attorney or a parole board member, I would believe him. But if you have ever seen any of these Ch0m0s, if you've ever seen predator catchers, if you ever have done anything outside of read a law book, you would know that he knew exactly what he was doing. Police next executed a search warrant in Hansen's home and spoke with him there. Hansen said he met the girl through an online application called Adult Friend Finder in March and engaged in sexual activity on 3 occasions. He actually fulfilled his desires. It wasn't until afterward that he spoke with the girl's mother, who shared her daughter's true age, and they just believe him. Oh, you're right. Hansen said he was shocked and never would have talked to her if he had known. A 43-year-old man at the time. I had no idea she was 12. I'm tired. I really am. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing these these judges, these DAs just do this over and over and over again. And you know why he's a low on the static 9-9, and we've gone through this a million times. But this is the 10-point questionnaire, which almost all 50 states use. And I'll tell you right now why he's a low in the static 9-9. Because he's age 40 or older, okay, he starts with a -1. The lower the score you have, the better. So already he's a -1. If he's 60 or older, he's a -3. Wow. Now, have you ever lived with a lover? Well, we know most Ch0m0s do live with a quote-unquote lover. Oftentimes, it's how they gain access to his prey. Well, he did. He was married, so he's a 0. So now he's still a -1. Had you had prior convictions? He says no, so he's 0. Like for CP or something. Prior sex offenses, he says no, so he's 0. And that's the list. And because he's only essayed one 12-year-old 3 times, he's a 0, which makes him a low risk to reoffend. Now, had he, let's just give one example of how insane this is. Let's say he was 60 years old, and let's say he had 4 prior sex offenses. 4, he would get 3 points for that, but he checks all the boxes, the same boxes that this man checked. He would also be a low risk to reoffend. So according to the static 9-9, as long as you're 60 years old, even if you were a serial predator, you would still be considered a low risk to reoffend. This is what nearly all 50 states in America is using, including Louisiana. They still reference the static 9-9. They ignore it. They'll reference it, in terms of why they should keep someone locked up. But thank God they have stopped referencing is why they should release people. Although the old world parole board used to do it. But I think they've woken up too and realized that it's insane. But Connecticut, to them, it's still the Bible. And most states still view it as the Bible. And that's insane. This needs to stop. And with that, I'll let you go.
I think I read that you asked the victim for a birth certificate?
She had said she had one just to make sure.
Okay, but if you did not suspect that she was minor, why would you need to see a birth certificate?
She just offered it.
You didn't find that strange? If someone said to me, let me show you my birth certificate, I would find that a little odd.
I don't know what that is. I really don't know. And
you have 3 children, right?
Yes. Look, she showed me graduation pictures. She was just showing me all sorts of stuff.
From what? I mean, could have been
from high
middle school.
No, it was high school. Because she had cap and gown and the
yeah, middle schools do that too.
I don't know that. My kids' middle schools did not.